tired of living in a country where not my capabilities or my competence, but the connection that people have takes them forward.
We plan to have a very small, peaceful protest.
Did you stay off of social media or did you go back to posting?
No, I went back to posting. I will never stop posting. It's fine even if I die, but I will be dying speaking up for my country.
There is a huge class difference, and all these people, they get these opportunities not because they are capable of it, just because they know somebody.
Madagascar, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Maldives, East Timor, Nepal.
Government properties being demolished, burned down. Did we ever think that we will be targeted next? No.
The big question is, how many other similar countries does this spread to?
Now more than ever before, people have a window into the lives of others. Social media connects youth across countries and continents, but it also shows them riches beyond their reach. And as inequality and unfairness become more conspicuous, some Gen Zers have taken to the streets. But nowhere was the movement more visible and more violent than in Nepal, a small democratic country wedged between Tibet and India.
We were marching towards the Parliament gate, and I was always very opinionated. I used to have opinions on everything. I was a rebel kid. This video is about me asking.
Prashamsa Subedi is a 22-year-old law student who lives with her parents in the outskirts of Nepal's capital, Kathmandu. Not long ago, her life took a surprising turn.
It was 2024 when I started uploading the videos about my political opinion, what I felt the government was doing wrong, and that's when it took off.
In late June, after a Nepali politician downplayed the country's poverty, Subedi posted an angry response on TikTok. A day later, her clip had over 1 million views.
How can a leader, mantri say that? Ke?
Before, when we think of it, these politicians would not have their life public. So we would not know what their lifestyle was, how everything was going. But then there is a very famous politician. One of his family members was a vlogger. And she used to document their lives, and every clip used to go viral. And people used to see what lavish lifestyle they were having, which we could not even imagine. So that is how it all sparked, that is how it all triggered.
In Nepal, there are so many people who have hand-to-mouth situation, and then you show off your luxury, this and that, everybody would get angry. So was I.
Although inequality in Nepal may be more visible, its existence is hardly new. Its 31 million inhabitants make an average annual income of less than $2,000. And at around $40 billion per year, Nepal's GDP is lower than that of any U.S. state. But GDP has been on the rise, climbing at an average annual rate of over 4% in the last 10 years. It's also got a Gini coefficient that's fallen over the past 2 decades, showing that, with the limited data we have, the gap between rich and poor in Nepal seems to be shrinking. Ghanshyam Upadhyay is Nepal's finance secretary.
We have experienced the 4.2% economic growth in the last decade. 1 year we faced the negative growth, that is of the COVID-19 year. That's why the economy of Nepal is resilient. Inequality is reducing.
Small steps towards stability, but seemingly not enough. Anger and resentment over perceived economic injustice built up over the years, and seeing stark inequality on social media pushed people over the edge.
There's sudden visibility to how much richer the rich are than the poor, right? That ability to kind of see over the palace walls.
Clay Shirky studies the effect of social media on politics at New York University.
In revolution after revolution, there has been some sudden change in perception of how the wealthy are living. In Nepal, it was around this idea of Nepo babies, right? It was the idea that the children of the rich were not suffering the way the rest of Gen Z was. There's a case, one of the famous Nepalese influencers. She was a former Miss Nepal, she was a Harvard graduate, and she was widely followed on Instagram. And once the idea of the Nepo baby arrives, many of her followers turned against her. She suddenly became a target for outrage for exactly the same thing she'd been posting all the way along.
Something had changed about the way Nepal's youth saw their country and the lives of its wealthiest citizens. It was not just the inequality that felt wrong, but the inequality of opportunity. The idea that those at the bottom would never have the chance to rise up, and those at the top might not deserve to be there at all. And although generational wealth, corruption, and nepotism had always existed in Nepal, today they were in your face, on your phone, seemingly flaunted. As the online furor grew, the government made a dramatic decision.
And Nepal has cracked down on a number of social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X.
I was, first of all, utterly hopeless and helpless.
18-year-old Shaswat Lamachan was one of the many Gen Zers who was angry about the social media ban.
Talked with some activist friends, figured out what we could do, and we concluded that doing a protest will be the best way to do it.
Lamachan says he expected 200 protesters to show up. But across the country, others like him were putting out the same call to friends and influencers.
Today, we are here to say enough.
First, never-ending corruption.
The collective action problem is if one person goes to the government and is protesting out front, they are completely helpless. But if 1,000 people do, they have to pay attention. And if 10,000 people do, they're overwhelmed.
Everyone we spoke with said the plan was for a small, peaceful protest. But in the 3 short days between the social media ban and the protest on September 8th, the call to action spread like wildfire.
By that point, the evening of September 7, we figured out that this would be huge because everyone was talking about it. It ended up becoming a national thing.
Well, tell us what happened on September 8th when you woke up in the morning.
I didn't sleep that day.
We all planned to wear school dresses so that police could not even beat us because it's illegal to beat school children. We started marching and we were chanting slogans and we were having fun, we were singing songs. Some people were playing Uno there, and we were 100 meters away from Parliament where we were sitting, and we got the sense of tear gas.
In an instant, everything changed.
That is when I got the news of a person being killed. We didn't think it would go that far, but there was a news of a person being targeted. I was just scrolling through the news. I could not work, I could not do anything. I was just scrolling through one scroll, one death, one scroll, one death. After the news that one person is shot and he is dead, I felt so guilty because he might have come watching my videos. So maybe I am responsible for his death.
Police firing actual shots at children dying.
News of the violence traveled quickly, and then escalation.
The very clip that I would say that ignited the fire in the people was a 17-year-old getting shot on his head.
It outreached the whole population. The next day, it was not Gen Z anymore. It was the nation versus the government.
The Hilton got burned. They started burning all the government buildings and everything.
Our palaces were burnt. Our banks were looted.
This factory belonged to the family of Nirvana Chaudhary, whose home was also set ablaze. His family owns one of Nepal's largest businesses.
So they went after your parents' house and then one of your factories.
Our showrooms got burned down and motorcycles looted, vehicles looted. People are frustrated. People are jobless. Do they want to see big homes over there? Frustration was what was targeted towards individuals and families like ours.
By the end of the violence, over 70 people had died, 2,000 injured. All the Gen Zers who spoke to us on camera made clear they never advocated violence and were far away when the situation escalated to the highest levels of government. On September 9th, one day after the protests began, many of Nepal's top leaders resigned, including the Prime Minister himself.
We never imagined this situation. It was like nobody told us we would be a country without a government.
The Gen Zers worried that in trying to improve their democracy, they might have inadvertently ended it. The army was taking control, stepping into the vacuum left by Nepal's leadership. But then, an unexpected phone call in the middle of the night.
The army invited us to sit down with them at the army headquarters to talk on what to do next, what the future of the country should look like.
Subedi also got the Army's call, along with a handful of others. The ask, you helped start this, now come fix it. Lamichan, who had started a chat room to organize the protests, helped create another, this time to pick a new leader. Over 100,000 people joined, and for hours they debated and voted. The name they chose? Sushila Karki, a retired Supreme Court justice known for fighting corruption and supporting women's rights. Subedi, the law student, got her phone number.
She was asking if we were okay and everything, and we asked her to step up, and then she said, if you guys are trusting on me, then I will have to step up, because it's not about me anymore, it's about the country.
Do you look at this and think, how amazing, I spoke into this camera and look what's happened?
Actually, no, because I still have that guilt of posting the video, and I still think some people might have come watching my videos and they had to lose their lives. But if something great happens in the days coming forward, then that day I might be able to grasp that I was one of the major people who was responsible for this change to happen.
In the weeks since Nepal's government was brought down, so-called Gen Z protests have erupted in other countries, including Morocco, Madagascar, and Peru. The outcome of these movements is uncertain, and their motivations are varied. But they are each grounded in the economics of inequality and a belief among younger generations that the system has, in some way, failed them.
Has something changed in society that makes people angrier about their condition? We've had the peasants and the royalty forever.
So there is a general anti-royalist and anti-elite sentiment that is spreading from country to country, a sense that the leaders of the country are not natural rulers. And there's also a sense that the economy should work for young people. And some of this is really just comparative, right? If you live in a place and you have a certain kind of life and you have no idea what anybody else's life is like, it's easy to just say this is how the world is. But if you can see across, right, if you can see to other countries, if you can see to other cities, that comparative sensibility makes it harder for a royal family or a set of hereditary elites to maintain legitimacy. And just the idea that the children of rich people should not have disproportionate opportunity, that is a surprising new idea.
For Subedi and others, it's an idea whose time has come. A look over the palace wall made them angry, but then also hopeful for a better future. Hopeful enough to take action. And now, hopeful that their action will be worth the sacrifice.